You're watching news and commentary from America's Heartland. You're watching Heartlander News. Welcome into Heartlander News. My name's Chris Stigall. Be sure to keep up to date with all the latest headlines at heartlandernews.com. As we approach the 250th anniversary of the country, back to the vaudevillian, they roll out there at CNN with a new poll on how much Democrats just can't stand this country, really. He's stunned. I don't know why. I mean, if you listen to them talk, it's pretty clear why. Give me number 303 here, and here is the vaudevillian, stunned at the results that Democrats don't like the country much.
Patriotic are Americans feeling this morning? With us now, CNN chief data analyst.
We will
Harriet.
always remember Lexington and Concord, people. We will always remember it here on CNC.
Patriots Day versus the 4th. We know which one is more important, but the meaning of the 4th, when we ask voters about this, what do most of them say at this point?
This, to me, is one of the most stunning divides that we have seen. You know, we're talking about polarization in politics. It even comes down to what you believe July 4th actually is. Like, what does July 4th mean to you? Celebrate America, friends and family time. Among Republicans, what do you see? You see the clear majority say it's a time to celebrate America, 65%. Among Democrats, however, the plurality disagree. Look at that. What do you see? Friends and family time at 42% versus just 24% who say that what it means most of them is to celebrate America. So even on the basic question of what July 4th means to you, we have Republicans on one end saying celebrate America, more of them say that, and Democrats on the other end saying that it means more to them to have time with friends and family.
What do they say about the flag?
Yeah, okay, so what do they say about the flag? Even on the basic level of flag, look at this. Look at how we have an increasing polarization on this issue. We'll display the flag on July 4th, the American flag. Back in July of 2001, look at this. You had 68% of Republicans, 65% of Democrats saying that they would, in fact, display the flag on July 4th. You come over to this side of the screen, Republicans basically are where they were 25 years ago, right? 64%. But look at that Democratic percentage, absolutely plummeting. Just 27% of Democrats say they will, in fact, display the flag on July 4th. Democrats and Republicans in different camps, even on the simple question of displaying the flag on July 4th, a polarization, a split that simply put did not exist a generation ago.
What about the sloganeering about proud to be an American?
Okay, what about this idea? Are you proud to be an American? Extremely or very proud to be an American? Again, look at this divide, a growing divide on this question. Back in January of 2001, 90% of Republicans, 85% of Democrats. This was after a very contentious 2000 election, keep in mind, right, with George W. Bush coming into the White House. You come over to this side of the screen in 2026. Look at this. Again, the Democratic percentage absolutely plummets to just 29% of Democrats say they're extremely or very proud to be an American. That Republican percentage, the exact same, 90 and 90. The Democratic percentage, what is that? That's basically a third of the level that it was just 25 years ago.
I think you're right to point out this was a time when Democrats might have been feeling badly about the course of the country. Still, 85% said they were proud to be American. Something's changed.
Something has absolutely changed, despite the fact a contentious time then, a contentious time now, and yet Democrats, that extremely very pride number has absolutely plummeted.
Yeah, well, I don't know the veracity of those numbers. I haven't seen their sampling, but it's pretty clear. And we saw it earlier in the week. You know, I played for you the De Niro clip. We saw it in Joy Behar. It's all about who's president for Democrats. That's all. For people who love the country, despite the presidency, they always love the country. I mean, as this country approaches its 250th birthday, I think most of us are filled with heartfelt patriotism and love of country. I mean, this country has created more wealth and lifted more people out of poverty and produced more world-changing inventions, delivered more freedom than any nation in human history. It still remains the freest, most prosperous, and most innovative society that was ever created on this planet. And yet, you see stories like these polls from Harry Enton over there at CNN. Did you see yesterday the grand opening of his stupid, ugly, lavish presidential center, Barack Hussein Obama? So he chooses the 250th anniversary of this big, ugly, trash can-looking presidential museum and library or whatever. He chose this moment to declare that the founders fell short. In fact, the direct quote was fell terribly short of the Declaration's promise. He scolded them for leaving slavery intact and restricting voting to white men with property. I mean, this was Barack Obama yesterday. Here's just some of it. This is the former president of the United States on its 250th anniversary. This is some of the footage from that event. Valerie Jarrett, his seven-figure CEO of this thing that is wildly over budget and overdue and well behind schedule and opening. Here we finally are, number 305. Take a listen.
We'd also like to take a moment to recognize the original inhabitants of the land upon which we are gathered today. We honor the Anishinaabe, the Council of Three Fires, the Ojibwe, the Odawa, and the Potawatomi nations.
In Chicago. Okay, fine. And then, of course, Mrs. Obama. What day would be complete without Mrs. Obama and her 2 cents?
Proving what it truly means to be a dreamer. These folks aren't Americans too. They are America. They are the beating heart of this country. They are us and we are them. And to ignore this simple truth, to refuse to respect the contributions and experiences of people who aren't exactly like us, y'all puts us all at risk. Failing to see the humanity in all people puts us all on a slippery slope. Immigrants prove
anger. The 250th anniversary of the country, and Harry Enton over at CNN and John Berman there wonder aloud, gosh, I wonder what's happened to Democrats. Something's really changed. These people changed. These people changed it all. These people constantly tell their voters that the country is rotten and no good, and if they're not running it, nothing's worth a damn. So don't fly your flag and don't celebrate the country, and our best days are behind us and all of that. And it's just a perpetual stream of those news stories. This from the Hill. Fewer in a new poll say anyone can achieve the American dream. It's depressing. Now, again, this is a sample size of 6,300 adults. So this is just random people they pulled off the street, 6,300 people. And the percentage here is 48%, which is still pretty high, I guess. It's about a 50-50 split. So about half the adults asked in this survey, can anyone achieve the American dream? Half say yes, half say no. It's sad that there are half in this country that think anyone is not able to achieve the American dream. But it's thanks to this kind of anger, this perpetual petulance. Barack Hussein Obama, of course, finally got to speak at his own long overdue, well over budget museum and library. And here he is, number 307.
A belief in the peaceful transfer of power after the people have spoken in fair and free elections, recognizing that in a large, complicated society like ours, no group or faction gets its way 100% of the time. And a belief that qualities of character, honesty, integrity, kindness, compassion, sense of duty, institution.
Yeah, look, this is one of the angriest, most divisive men that's ever occupied the White House. He and his administration have done more to divide and destroy goodwill amongst Americans than anything we've ever seen in history. They are as sinister, frankly. And I mean, look, Barack Obama is the guy that famously told the automobile industry when he bailed them out. Remember when they were about to collapse, the whole cash for clunkers era, and the government funded a big bailout of the big three automakers in Detroit. And they came to Obama and they finally said, hey, we don't want any more loans. And part of the conditions were the government threw money at GM and Chrysler. Ford did not take it. which to Ford's credit, they said no. But Obama fed money into Chrysler and GM, and they kept pumping money into Chrysler and GM. And Obama said, okay, and here's the trade-off. We're going to give you taxpayer money, but in exchange, we get to put Obama people on your board to help control your operations. That's fascism. Back to stupid Bette Midler singing, "You fascists." That's true fascism. The government injecting taxpayer funds into a private entity and then putting people on its board to control that entity without actually being fully in control. That is textbook fascism. Just so we're clear, the Obama administration ushered that in. And it was Obama who said to them, as quoted in a Politico story that I'll never forget, when they said, you know what, Mr. President, we're done. I think we're solid now. We don't need any more funds. So if we could end this, that would be great. And he said, oh, no. You're going to keep taking the money until I tell you you're done taking the money. Or the only thing standing between me and the pitchfork, or the only thing standing between you and the pitchforks is me. That's a quote. He told auto executives in a meeting at the White House, you had better continue to behave and do what I tell you and take this money and don't try to back out of the deal or I'll turn the mob on you. Meaning he knew the power that he had to basically make the American public hate auto executives or anybody else that he wanted. And he does. He always has. He has that golden tongue. He delivers these magnificent speeches and people become hypnotized by his pretty speeches. And he can get the mob to turn on people with that silver tongue in a minute. He knows it. It is his gift. It's his superpower. It's sinister, but it's true. The Washington Times, fantastic hosts are wowing World Cup travelers, dispelling anti-U.S. buzz that preceded the tournament. Oh, so apparently we're not so damned rotten after all. Sweltering temperatures, rampant crime, and unfriendly locals. That was the soccer fan. That was what the soccer fans who flocked to the World Cup were told to expect. But instead, international visitors tell the Washington Times they've fallen in love with historic sites and gas stations, modern shops, restaurants, and bars. And friendly Americans. Well, I'll be damned. The country's not rotten to the core. Did you know that? America and the world needed this. The world has been a pretty dark place for 10 years, said one. Just being in a situation where different fan groups, communities coming together just to have fun and learn about each other and engage, it's been really special. Or maybe that's always what America has been. Maybe that's always been the story. That's what's so infuriating about what we heard Barack Obama and Mrs. Obama and the others at this stupid opening yesterday say. This incomplete history that they talk about, this revisionist history that our founding was only about slavery, it reveals far more about the speaker than about the founders he was criticizing. You know, many of the founders personally opposed slavery, as a matter of fact, and there were real debates about ending it at our founding. They made painful compromises, though, to forge one nation out of 13 very different colonies. The work was different then. The opposition was different then. So they did the best they could to create a framework that was later strengthened by the Bill of Rights. And that allowed every generation after that to expand liberty. And we did. Hundreds of thousands of Americans later died in battle to end slavery, as a matter of fact. What's far more telling, though, is who delivered this critique to begin with. Barack Obama, a man who was reelected by this country in 2012, a man of color, not a victim of any kind. He was given every opportunity this nation offers. He was a man showered with unimaginable wealth, massive book advances, Netflix deals. Despite not being a particularly accomplished writer, my friend Jack Cashel wrote an entire book on that, Dreams from My Father. You should read it. He was not particularly successful as a producer either. He really has no record of accomplishment, but he was a man treated with extraordinary respect anyway, and generosity by the very nation he continues to indict. And yet, instead of gratitude, all we see out of him and his wife are bitterness. Behind the practiced calm, there's this deep anger and resentment. His words on the eve of our nation's milestone birthday weren't really about 1776 at all. They exposed an extraordinarily ungrateful guy, someone given so much and yet with so little positivity or appreciation for the opportunities America has provided him. This event yesterday, the Obamas, this speech, it tells us a lot less about the founding fathers. It tells us a whole lot more about the character of the Obamas themselves. They're bitter, they're divisive, they seem incapable of genuine thanks for what this country made possible in their own lives. And that's the real disappointment, frankly. At a time when we should all be reflecting on how far we've come, one of our former presidents still chooses to tear down the very foundation that made his own extraordinary success possible. Yes, just like at the president's house in Philadelphia, we can acknowledge flaws in our past without forgetting the miracle of what America has achieved and continues to achieve. True leadership would actually remind us of that. Instead, what do we get? Another lecture laced with resentment. I don't know about you, but I've had enough of it. I'm celebrating America's 250th birthday, and I'm going to fly my flag on my front porch happily. In fact, I've never been prouder to be an American than I am right now. I hope you feel the same. And that'll do it today from America's Heartland. Be sure to keep us, I hope, in check when you follow along on YouTube. Maybe give us a comment. Let us know what you're thinking about the show. Keep up to date, of course, on all the latest news all week long, every single day, from honest, straightforward, both commentators and journalists. Heartlandernews.com is where you can find that. Heartlandernews.com. Stay in touch with us. Hope you'll give us a like, a follow, a listen, some comments, and we'll see you right here next week. Glad to have you along on Heartlander News.